Welcome to a first look from AudioMidi.com. Today we have the Allen Heath Xone DB4 4-channel digital DJ mixer with 4 effects processors, and it works as an audio interface over USB. That's right, ditch your audio interface and start traveling with this sucker. Hook up to Ableton Live or any other digital audio workstation on a Mac or PC. Taking a look at the back, we see a pair of XLR for mains, separate analog and digital recording outs, T-wrench quarter-inch outputs for the booth, 4 stereo analog inputs, 2 of them can be switched to old-school decks, also 4 digital ins including deck starts for use with the fader, and finally a ground, X-Link, and a USB. You may have noticed when we looked at the back, the only cable besides the power I have hooked up is the USB. That's because we're running directly into my digital audio workstation. We're sending 2 stereo pairs via USB out of our DAW to simulate DJ turntable signals so we can play around with these effects. Allen and Heath shipped drivers on a disc along with it. If you look into your DAW, you'll see that you switch the driver to Allen and Heath. That's all you need to do. Let's take a look at the front of the DB4. On the far left, you'll see you have microphone input at the top, mic line switch with a pair of line inputs. Gain, high frequency, low frequency EQs, Q for the headphones, and your main level switch. Now let's take a look at your 4 music inputs. At the top, we have an input selector. The input selector is determined by the dip switch underneath it. Analog on the left, USB input in the middle, and your digital inputs on the right. Then once you select that, you can choose which of the 4 inputs from each one of those you are selecting. In this case, we're hooked up through USB, so we're going to select USB in the middle dip switch, pick the first input, and then on channel 2, we're going to pick the second stereo pair as the input. If you want to, you could also select the first input for the second channel. That way you have the same signal coming in. You can select different effects for each one and crossfade between the 2. Pretty cool stuff. Looking farther down, we have pretty typical EQs, high, mid, low. The thing that's unique about them is the dip switch that turns them into filters. Notice the mid switches over to a resonance. Pretty cool. Underneath the EQs in a section called beats is where we control our loops. 1, 2 meaning half note, which is the value at which it's looping. More on that later. Next are the effects processors. They give us delays, reverbs, resonance, modulation, and distortion. We get an expression knob for tweaking and a knob for blending the dry-wet signal. To get a detailed view of your effects processor parameters, the Select button will choose which effects processor you're viewing the details of over in the LCD screen on the right-hand side. Each one of them is numbered on the screen 1 through 4 from top to bottom. Underneath the effects processors, we have a dip switch for selecting which filter the signal is going to be sent to. In the middle means no filter at all, on the left, filter 1, on the right, filter 2. More on that later. Beneath that, you can also select the destination for the crossfade. X, Y, left, right. The dip switches feel good. You're definitely not going to accidentally switch one of these in a dark club. And of course, each channel has the cue for monitoring in your headphone mixes. And finally, we have the channel fader. The signal we're monitoring here is post-EQ, post-effects, so you'll get an accurate idea of what signal is going to be coming through when you pull this fader up. Another amazing feature is a USB port in the upper right-hand side. This is for a memory stick, and it's not only for doing firmware updates, this is for saving all your settings and presets. Plug it in, and you're ready to go at every gig. Now let's take a closer look at the filters. We have filter 1 on the left-hand side, filter 2 on the right-hand side. And again, each one of these is independently selectable from each of the channels with that first dip switch. Flip it over to the left for filter 1, flip it over to the right for filter 2. Let's check this thing out and see what it sounds like. Okay, let's try out the filter. I've taken channel 2 and I've signed it to filter number 2, which is over on this side of the mixer. We'll try out a bandpass first. We can control the frequency sweep here and turn on the bandpass by pressing that, turn the filter on. Let's try a high pass. And the low pass. Let's build this up. And drop it in. Not bad. That's fun. Now we're going to go back to the loop section. You'll see it here labeled beats, enclosed in this box. We get a knob, LED readout, and a roll-on light. The LED that says beats gives us a note value. This note value is the length at which a loop is being created. -1 is a 16th note, 1/8 is an 8th note, 1/4 is a quarter note, 1/2 half note, whole note, then 2 beats, and 4 means an entire measure. You can select 4 beats for a full measure, and when we press the button, it activates listening. As long as this light is on, it'll keep looping for the duration that we selected under beats. Now let's try out the looping. Alright, so let's try the looper. We're going to set to a full bar right here. And I'm going to hit play on my workstation and feed into it with this track. Now while it's rolling, and once it gets to the beginning of a bar, I'm going to push this button in to let it know that I want it to start looping. And now we'll notice actually I'll hit stop on my workstation and it's still playing because we're actually listening to a really nice loop. Nice and smooth. So let's play around. Let's try this reverse effect here. When we select that and I hit the select button down here, so it pulls up our reverses over here in the patches. We're going to grab, here's just a basic reverse. And then when I sweep this button, you notice it kind of looks like an EQ field, and that's exactly what it is. I'm sweeping the effect, the reverse effect, up and down with this. And I can change the beat at which it's affected right here. Okay, that's fine. Alright, let's try another effect. Let's do some modulation. Pick him, select it on screen, turn my effects channel on, and then come up here and let's try a ring modulator. Ooh, that's fun. Maybe a bit extreme. Hit my select button again. Let's pick a different effect. Ooh, we got old flange here. Let's do nice slow flange here. Make it nice and wide. Not bad. Alright, and then let's see, we also have reverb, delay. Let's try a delay. That's always fun. Let's do a fat Q delay. Turn my effects on. Oh, that could be fun. Not bad. Not bad. There you go, there's a preview of the effects. This has been an exclusive first look video from AudioMidi.com.